Dear student, today we have to start the next topic, that is electric dipole. So, what is electric dipole? An electric dipole consists of an pair of equal and opposite point charge which are separated by a distance 2L. It means an electric dipole contains a positive charge and a negative charge which are of equal magnitude, and one is positive and another charge is negative, and the distance of separation between them is 2L, and the center point is known as the center of the dipole. From the center, both the charges are at L distance from the center. So the total net charge of an electric dipole is 0, because electric dipole, when we are considering it's as a one isolated system, then the total net charge will be 0 because it contains one positive charge and another negative charge which are of equal magnitude. Okay, but the electric field of electric dipole is non-zero in nature. It means the total net charge due to electric dipole is 0, but the electric field due to this positive and negative charge, this is not equal to 0, or it is non-zero. It means an electric dipole gives a non-zero electric field. It means it contains certain amount of the electric field. Now next point is dipole moment of the electric dipole. Dipole moment, that is represented by P vector, is a measure of strength of electric dipole. It is a vector quantity whose magnitude is equal to the product of magnitude of any one charge and the distance between them. So mathematically, electric dipole is represented as P vector is equals to Q, any of the charge of the dipole, into the distance of separation between the two charges, that is Q into 2L. So P dipole moment, the magnitude of the dipole moment is Q charge product with the distance of separation, that is 2L. So the unit of this dipole moment will be coulomb into meter. For charge, unit is coulomb. For length, unit is meter. So now this is the magnitude part of the dipole moment. Now what about the direction? By convention, the direction of P, that is dipole moment, is from negative charge to positive charge, which is opposite to that of the electric field, that is from positive to negative charge. It means in the electric dipole, the dipole moment, that is P vector, is always directed from negative to positive charge. So the direction of dipole moment is always from negative to positive charge, whereas the direction of electric field is always from positive to negative charge. So both dipole moment vector and electric field vector are in opposite direction in electric dipole. The SI unit of dipole moment is coulomb into meter. Now the next topic we have to start is electric field due to the electric dipole, because in the previous topic I have already told you that the electric field due to electric dipole is non-zero, whereas the net charge is 0. So the electric field is present due to this electric dipole. So there are two cases. First, when the point is on the axis of the dipole. It means first we are considering a case where the point where we have to find the electric field is at the axis of the electric dipole. This is the first case. This is the electric dipole, and the point D is on the axis of the dipole, because this ABD is the axis of the dipole and the point is at D, and we have to find the electric field due to this electric dipole at point D. The second case is when the point is on equatorial plane of the dipole. So what do you mean by equatorial plane of the dipole? That is the plane perpendicular to the dipole axis passing through its center. It means the equatorial plane is the plane which is perpendicular to dipole axis passing through its center. It is represented here. This is the dipole, electric dipole, and this AOB is the axis of the dipole, and the line, that is OD is the line which is perpendicular to the axis of dipole and it is passing through center O of the dipole. So this D point is known as the equatorial point for the electric dipole. So this is the second case. So we have to do the derivation for both the cases. First, when the point is at axial line of the electric dipole. So the first case is the electric field at a point on axial line of the electric dipole. This is the first derivation. So here we have the dipole and we have to find the electric field at point D due to this dipole. So the length, so in this case we have taken a point D on the axis of the dipole, and this point D is at a distance r from the center O of the dipole. So this point D is from the center of the dipole, it is at r distance, and the separation between two charges of the dipole is 2L. The length of separation is 2L. So the distance OD will be equals to r. What is the distance BD? Because OB distance is L, AO distance is also L. So BD distance will be r minus L. Because this much distance is L, so it will be r minus L. And in the same way, AD distance will be r plus L. This will be r plus L. So O is the center of the dipole. Now here, first we have to find out the electric field at point D due to this positive charge, plus Q charge. So E plus Q, that is the electric field due to plus Q charge at point D. This will be equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by BD whole square, because the distance from this charge to this point is BD. So it will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R minus L the whole square. So E of plus Q, electric field due to plus Q charge, will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R minus L whole square, and the direction of the electric field will be along BD unit vector. This is the first point. Now the second is the electric field due to the minus Q charge at point D. So the electric field at point D due to this charge will be small in magnitude in comparison to the electric field due to plus Q charge, because this plus Q charge is closer to this point and this minus Q charge is far away from this point. And we know that as the distance from the point, as the charge is farther or the distance is increasing, the electric field get decreased. So the magnitude of electric field due to minus Q charge is less than the magnitude of electric field due to plus Q charge. Now E of minus Q will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by AD square. This will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R plus L whole square. E of minus Q will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R plus L square that is dB vector, because this is along D to B unit vector. So BD unit vector is equals to minus of dB, or we can say that dB unit vector is minus of BD unit vector, because both the unit vector are opposite in direction. So E of minus Q will be, minus time will be coming here, minus sign. So minus of Q upon 4 pi epsilon naught R plus L का whole square BD unit vector. This negative sign indicates that the direction of electric field due to minus Q charge is opposite to that of the electric field due to plus Q charge. So the resultant electric field at point D will be E net electric field will be E of plus Q plus E of minus Q. That will be equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by R minus L whole square minus Q by R plus L whole square. By solving this equation, we will get the value of net electric field, that is Q by 4 pi epsilon naught 4 RL upon R square minus L square का whole square along BD unit vector, because this plus Q electric field is greater in magnitude in comparison to minus Q. So the net electric field will be along BD direction, along B to D direction. So as we know that the dipole moment vector is equals to Q into 2L. So by putting this value of the dipole moment, we get the value of electric field in terms of dipole moment, that is P by 4 by epsilon naught 2R upon R square L square का whole square. So here we assume that the dipole is very short in comparison to the point D where we have to find the electric field. So the separation between the two charges, that is 2L, is much smaller than the distance of the point from the center of the dipole, that is R. So we will neglect this L factor because L is very small in comparison to R. So it will become R square minus L square का whole square, that will be equals to R square the whole square. That will be E electric field will be equals to P dipole moment vector by 4 pi epsilon naught into 2R divided by R power 4. So R 1 R power will be cancelled out. So we will get the electric field at axial point D, that is 2P upon 4 pi epsilon naught R Q. And there is one note is here, the direction of electric field at axial point, that is E axial, is along the direction of the dipole moment vector P of the electric dipole. It means the direction of electric field, net electric field at axial point is in the same direction as that of the dipole moment vector as shown in this diagram. This is the direction of dipole moment and this same is the direction of the net electric field, that is along A to B, along A to B. So this derivation has been completed here. Now we have to start the next derivation, that is electric field at a point on equatorial line of the electric dipole. So in this case the point D is on the axis which is perpendicular to the axis of the dipole and it is passing through the center of the dipole. So this OD is the line which is perpendicular to the axis of the dipole and it is passing through this center of the dipole, and we have to find the electric field at this point D, which is called as the equatorial point. So here first we will find the electric field due to this minus Q charge. So electric field due to minus Q charge will be along this direction, that is along DA. along the direction dA. And second, the electric field due to positive charge will be along BD. This is in this direction, along BD. This is the electric field due to this plus Q charge. Now we have to resolve, because this angle is theta and this OD distance is R. So here also we will get the angle theta, because these two are alternate angle, these two are corresponding angle, and we will resolve this E of plus Q electric field due to plus Q charge into two component. In the same way, E of minus Q is also getting resolved into two component. One is cos, another is sine. So in both the cases, the cos component is getting added up in the same direction along B to A direction, and the sine component of both the electric field will get cancelled out, which is happening in this case. So here I have written all the details that E sin theta, which is perpendicular component, get cancelled out, whereas only we are left with 2E cos theta component. And we know that E of plus Q magnitude is equals to E of minus Q magnitude is equals to electric field magnitude. Now we are only left out with the one component, that is 2E cos theta, whose direction is opposite with respect to dipole moment vector. That is, here the dipole moment is along A to B, whereas 2E cos theta component is along B to A. So here we are saying that this electric field component is opposite to that of the dipole moment vector P. So the resultant electric field at point D will be E of D, that will be equals to 2E cos theta. What is the value of cos theta? Because E electric field will be Q by 4 pi epsilon naught R square plus L square under root ka whole square. This is we are getting from this, because we know that at point D the distance AD is R square L square under root. In the same way, the distance BD is also R square plus L square under root. So we are getting this same thing as a distance, and cos theta is the in triangle OBD. Theta is this angle, so cos component will be this OB length upon BD length. So here cos theta will be OB upon BD. OB is L and BD is R square plus L square under root. So we will get E of D electric field at D point. The value is 2Q by 4 pi epsilon naught cos theta upon R square plus L square. And when we are putting this cos theta value, so we are getting 2Q by 4 pi epsilon naught R square plus L square into L upon under root R square plus L square. So combining these equation, we will get 2L into Q by 4 pi epsilon naught R square plus L square ka whole power 3 by 2, and we know that the dipole moment vector is Q into 2L. So Q into 2L is represented as the dipole moment vector, its magnitude part. So we know that the direction of the resultant electric field at point D is in opposite with respect to the dipole moment vector. So ED, that is electric field at point D, is minus of P vector by 4 pi epsilon naught R square plus L square the whole power 3 by 2. So if we assume that the dipole is very small or very short, that is 2L is much less than R, So L will be getting neglected out. So we will get E electric field at equatorial point, that is equals to minus P vector upon 4 pi epsilon naught r cube. And we know that electric field due to dipole is inversely proportional to the cube of the distance from the point, that is 1 by r cube. And we also get one result that electric field at axial point is equal to 2 times of the electric field at equatorial point. So we have the note, electric field value at axial point is 2 times of the electric field value at equatorial point due to electric dipole. So this derivation is also very much important. The value of electric field, we are getting this. Now we are starting the next topic, that is electric dipole when it is kept in uniform external electric field. It means when our dipole is put it in the external electric field which is along this direction. So in this, when the dipole is kept in uniform electric field, it will experience the force on positive charge as well as negative charge. So the net force on the dipole will be 0 because both the charges are equal in magnitude and the electric field also is same. So the force will be of equal magnitude and opposite in direction. So the net force will be 0. So by this there will be no translational motion of the electric dipole will be taking place when it is kept in uniform electric field. It means the dipole will not undergo that translational motion. It means a linear motion is not be done here because the net force will be 0, but net torque will be present because in the electric dipole charges are separated by 2L distance between them. So the forces are acting at different point along different line of action and they constitute a couple which result in the net torque on the electric dipole. Here the forces are acting at two different points. One is at A, another is at B. Or we can say that one is at negative charge, another the force is at positive charge. So because of this dipole has the tendency, because of these two forces, it will getting turned out. This positive charge will getting turned in this direction, this negative charge will be getting turned in this direction. So there will be a rotational motion. So rotational motion is possible. So rotational motion, the cause of rotational motion is there will be a presence of the net torque on this dipole because these two forces are not acting on the same point, they are acting on different point and their line of action is also different. So the net torque will be present on the dipole, and because of this net torque it has the capacity to turn around or to rotate this dipole. So we know that the dipole moment vector is along AB and the electric field vector is in horizontal direction, and the angle between the dipole moment vector and electric field vector is theta. So this theta angle, this is triangle ABC, this BC length will be 2L sin theta because sin theta will be BC upon AB. Sin theta will be BC upon AB. So this BC will be 2L into sin theta. So there will be a presence of the net torque, and the magnitude of net torque is equal to the magnitude of each force multiplied by perpendicular distance between two anti-parallel forces. Torque will be equals to force multiplied by perpendicular distance between forces. So net torque, that will be equals to force will be Q into E multiplied by BC. BC is the perpendicular distance with respect to this force. It means if force is in horizontal direction, then BC is this vertical length, and this force is also in horizontal direction, so this BC is perpendicular distance. So the perpendicular distance between this and this force, the length will be BC. The AB length is 2L. So we get sin theta as BC by AB. So BC will become AB sin theta, and torque will be Q into E into 2L sin theta. We know that the dipole moment vector is Q into 2L. So torque will be Q into 2L into E sin theta. Torque will be equals to P into E into sin theta, and we know that if the vector is coming in terms of sine of its angle, then the resultant vector will be a cross product of that two vector. So here the torque vector is the cross product of dipole moment vector into electric field vector. So this show that the cross product of the two vector, that is dipole moment and electric field, and it is the mathematical term of the torque which is produced in the electric dipole when the electric dipole is kept in uniform external electric field. Direction of the torque is normal to the plane of paper and it is going inside it. It means the direction of torque will be inside it. This net torque will rotate dipole in clockwise direction if we assume center O as the hinged point, because we have seen this direction of rotation is there. One side is rotated here, another side is rotated here. One side is here, another side is rotated here. So this direction will be clockwise direction of rotation. Now we have the two cases for the value of net torque on the electric dipole. First case is when dipole having the dipole moment along the external electric field. It means the angle between P vector, dipole moment vector, and electric field vector is 0 degree, or it is 180 degree. It means dipole moment vector and electric field vector are parallel or anti-parallel with respect to each other. Then the net torque will be 0. So net torque will be P E sin theta, and sin 0 is 0 degree. Sin 0 degree is 0. Sin 180 is also 0. So net torque we are getting 0. This is the case of minimum torque. So this is the case for minimum torque, and here the torque will be 0 when the angle theta is either 0 degree or 180 degree between P vector and E vector. These are the two possibilities. Either the angle is 0 degree or the angle is 180 degree. This is the minimum condition for the torque. Now the second case is for the maximum condition of the torque when the dipole having dipole moment perpendicular to the external electric field. This means that the angle between the dipole moment vector and electric field vector theta is 90 degree. It means when electric field is horizontal and dipole moment is vertical, and both are making 90 degree angle with respect to each other. So the net torque will be Pe sin theta. Sin 90 is 1. So net torque will be P into E. This is the maximum condition of the torque, that is torque is equals to P into E when the angle is theta is 90 degree. And there is one more thing which is left out in this here, where I have told you that this first case, which contain both the two part, that is when the angle between the dipole moment vector and electric field vector is 0, and when the angle between dipole moment vector and electric field vector is 180. So when dipole moment is along electric field, or we can say that dipole moment vector is along electric field vector, theta angle will be 0, torque will be 0, the dipole is in stable equilibrium condition. So this is the condition for stable equilibrium, when the angle between dipole moment vector and electric field vector is 0 degree, or we can say that dipole moment vector is along electric field vector. Next part is when electric field, or we can say that when dipole moment is held in a direction opposite to that of the electric field. It means dipole moment vector and electric field vector are anti-parallel. They are making angle 180 degree. Then also the torque will be 0. Then the dipole will be in unstable equilibrium condition. So this is the condition for unstable equilibrium. Next topic is continuous charge distribution. So what is the need to study this topic, continuous charge distribution? As we know that till now we have studied about the discrete charges, or the charges which are present in the form of point charge, and they are scattered in discrete form in the space. But this is not the practical condition while dealing with the charges, because if a body is there, then that body contain a continuous charge distributed over its surface. Or if there is a solid body, then that body is having continuous charges distributed over the whole body. So in that condition, we cannot deal with the previous understanding that we have done with discrete charges. So here we will use this formula, that is, it is not practical to deal with continuous shaped bodies having continuous charge distribution over it same as that of the discrete charge that we have earlier studied. So we use the three different charge densities term, which are as follows. So in order to calculate the numericals related to the continuous charge distribution, we have to use these three different charge densities, because we cannot apply that discrete charge formula that we have applied in the earlier topics. So in this, the first charge density is linear charge density. It is represented by lambda. It says that when the charges are distributed along a line, that is a straight or curve, then we define the linear charge density lambda at the line small element, that is lambda is equals to dq by dl, or lambda is equals to delta q by delta l. Let's suppose this AB is the length of the rod and it contain continuous positive charge over it surface, and the length is small l, and total charge is capital Q. Then we take a small element along the rod where its length will be dl and the charge on that dl length will be dq. So here dq is the charge contained in that small line element, dl is the length of the small line element. So the unit of linear charge density will be coulomb per meter. So this formula is important while dealing with the continuous charge distribution numericals. So next formula is surface charge density. The next formula is surface charge density. When the charges are distributed along the surface having certain area, then we define the surface charge density, that is sigma, at a small area element, that is given by sigma is equals to dq by ds or delta q by delta s. Like this is a square surface area, s is the total surface area of this surface, q is the total charge, and we have taken a small element of the area of ds, which is having the dq charge contained over that small area element vector. So this dq is the charge contained in the small surface element, and ds is the area of the small surface element. Now the third term is the unit of the surface charge density, that is sigma, is coulomb per meter square. So the unit of this surface charge density will be coulomb per meter square because it is charge per unit area. Next, third point is volume charge density, that is represented by rho. When the charges are distributed over certain volume, then we define the volume charge density at a small volume element, that is rho is equals to dq by dv or delta q by delta v. Like this is a solid sphere having the q amount of the charge contained over it. Then we will take a small element of volume, that is dv, having the charge dq. The total volume of the sphere is v, so this is the small element dv of that volume. So the unit of volume charge density will be coulomb per meter cube. So as we have taken in mass, there we are taking the density also term, that is density will be mass per unit volume. In the same way here there is volume charge density, that is charge per unit volume. That's all.